All right, welcome back to Left, Right and Centre. Now, a week of lockdown caused certain heartburn and heartbreak when pictures like these emerged, where there were migrants, lakhs and lakhs of them on the road, many of them halfway through their journey. But there is no dignity at all in the way we are treating these migrant workers. These two pictures on your screen, one is from Bareilly, where you see that a chemical spray is being sprayed on these workers to cleanse them, to make sure that they're safe. The virus is dead. The unfortunate problem over here is that this chemical spray was meant for buses, for non-living things. There were children over there. They complained of eye burning. But then, instead of being rushed to the hospital, they were packed off to their respective homes. This mass spraying, is this an effective way of dealing with the situation? And then in Bihar, you have people locked up inside a college and the gates shut as if they're in some jail. Is our response appropriate to this crisis and to this lockdown?
Shocking videos of migrant workers returning home sprayed with bleach, a harmful cleaning agent mixed with water, in UP's Bareilly town, 270 kilometers from Lucknow. The act, filmed by local officials, who first claimed they were disinfecting the workers and their families with sanitizers, but later admitted bleach was used. This clarification, tweeted by the district magistrate, said some of those who were sprayed were in hospital. And this was the work of over-eager officials who were only asked to sanitize the local bus station and not human beings. Later, the same official blamed the police and said everyone was okay.
ये नगर निगम की टीम और फायर डिपार्टमेंट की टीम गई थी वहाँ पे छिड़काव करने सुभाष नगर में। उसके बाद ये लोग सीओमोटो यहाँ बस अड्डे पे चले गए थे और उसी दरमियान कुछ लोगों को बैठाकर वहाँ पे कुछ पुलिस उपस्थित थे, बोले कि इसको भी सैनिटाइज कर दो। यद्यपि कि इनको ये नहीं करना चाहिए था इन लोग को और किसी को कोई नुकसान नहीं हुआ है।
Overzealous employees did something which was not required and he has already reprimanded all those concerned officials.
In Noida, UP's COVID-19 epicenter with over 30 cases, this outburst from Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath. This outburst from Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath at a review meeting there was aimed at the district magistrate and other officials. Sources said after the meeting, the DM asked for 3 months leave, expressing his inability to work in these conditions. With Saurabh Shukla, this is Alok Pandey, NDTV.
सुबह बोले लगे 4 बजे तुम्हें छोड़ देंगे, सुबह से आधे घंटे बस आ रही है, अभी तक बस नहीं आई। घर पे बेटा का तबीयत खराब है, क्या करूं सर, कुछ समझ नहीं आ रहा, नहीं छोड़ रहा है, हमें जाना है सर, हमें बाहर निकलवा दीजिए सर, कैसे भी करके बाहर निकलवा दीजिए सर, हम मर रहे हैं यहाँ पे।
These heartbreaking pictures of desperate migrant workers locked up, crying and begging to be freed was shared online by election strategist Prashant Kishore. The video is reportedly from Siwan in Bihar, near the border with UP. Kishore, who was sacked from the JDU by Nitish Kumar earlier this year, tweeted, "One more frightening picture of official efforts to protect people from the coronavirus epidemic. Poor migrants who came from various parts of the country after suffering many hardships are subjected to this heart-wrenching arrangement for social distancing and quarantine by Nitish Kumar." He added a hashtag, Nitish must quit. With assembly polls in Bihar due later this year, the lockdown and its impact on migrants could become a major issue.
सारा पर्पस लॉकडाउन का यही था कि जो जहां है वहीं रहेंगे, लेकिन कोई रुकने के लिए तैयार नहीं है। हम इन लोगों को गाली दे रहा है कि दिल्ली सरकार और यूपी सरकार भेज दिया, आप लोग क्यों रोक रहे हैं यहाँ पर?
This is for the first time that a senior minister from Bihar has criticized Arvind Kejriwal as well as Yogi Adityanath. But what really took everyone by surprise here, that the way these migrant laborers were praising both the chief ministers in public and criticizing Nitish Kumar for leaving them in the lurch.
In Delhi, the centers moved to suspend 2 senior IAS officers and send show-cause notices to 2 others on charges of dereliction of duty by allegedly failing to ensure the lockdown restrictions has also raised eyebrows about whether this was a political move. Thousands and thousands of migrant workers have been trying to walk home after the Prime Minister's lockdown announcement, which came as a bolt from the blue. The government has now said that borders have to be sealed and migrants placed in 14-day quarantine. With Manish Kumar in Patna, Rohit Wellington for NDTV.
So on the Bareilly incident, the BJP swung into action and they tweeted out this video, which we'll show you on your screen right now, that it is not just in Bareilly, but even in an LDF-ruled Kerala, where the same thing is happening. They say, they accuse people that only because it is Yogi Adityanath, that is why Bareilly is in focus and Kerala is not. To that, a simple question to any such argument: can 2 wrongs make a right? As simple as that. Joining us right now, Dr. Saurabh Chaudhary is the MD of Vinayak Hospital in Gautam Budh Nagar. Yogendra Yadav, National President of Swaraj India, Deshratan Nigam, political analyst as well as a lawyer, and Nikhil Dey, a co-convener of NCPRI and a social activist. Thank you, all of you all, for joining us. Yogendra Yadav, let me begin with you. When you look at these images, first of all, lakhs and lakhs of workers on the road, jobless and without a house. What sort of a telling commentary is this on our society? More than the government, I'll come to government later. But is this a reflection of the sort of society where we live in? Somebody must have sacked them, right?
Indeed. Sanket, what's happening is that the entire informal sector has gone for a 6. Yes, we can blame the employers. Yes, we can blame others. But in this kind of a situation, Sanket, there is no option except to look at someone who triggered it all, namely the government. Now, mind you, I do not blame the government for the decision of lockdown. Even if 6 months later we were to realize that this was not the best decision, at the moment it didn't seem the government had many other choices. I don't blame them. The real question we should be asking is, A, did the government plan for something as big as this? 2, whether it was communicated properly? And 3, has the government responded properly to the signals that it has received after lockdown? And unfortunately, the answer to all the 3 questions has to be no, no, no. In terms of preparation, now this is no secret in this country that we have a large unorganized sector, that people, if they do not have anything to eat, would wish to go back home. You don't need to have intelligence units for that. This is common sense. Everyone knows it. So was it taken into account? Was it planned? It seems no. Second, when the communication took place, do you want to give only 4 hours? Other countries have had lockdown. They gave 3 days. Some countries gave 5 days. Why this kind of a communication where the Prime Minister does not even clarify that tomorrow morning you would get your milk, tomorrow morning, and that we shall look after your food. Please do not leave station. We will look after your breakfast tomorrow, your lunch tomorrow, your dinner tomorrow, some kind of an assurance which was missing. And 3, once the government has realized post facto that there is a crisis, what kind of a response do we have? Is this a response to simply come out with law and order provisions? Yesterday's notification is nothing but basically a law and order advisory. Don't allow these people to move, all right. But what are we doing for their food? And I'm saying this, Nikhil is here, he knows much more than I do. We are staring at a huge humanitarian crisis. This could actually lead to famine-like conditions in large parts of the country. And we have not yet started hearing it, but we could be looking at a situation where out of hunger, people do desperate acts. I do not see the government of India realizing it and responding it even today as we speak.
Okay. Very, very alarming situation there presented by Yogendra Yadav. But before I come to you, Mr. Dey, Deshratan Nigam, would you like to respond? to what Mr. Yadav is saying? Lack of planning is one criticism that has come.
No, certainly not. I think Government of India was aware and they announced various initiatives. But the front line for people who are supposed to look after are the state governments who have to immediately provide the reliefs. The Delhi government, which badly failed and pushed the workers on the border, the responsibility went to the UP. And UP is trying to do its best. Lakhs of workers who came there and they are being, yes, I can understand in normal circumstances, things could have been done in a far, far better manner. But this is a crisis situation where they are trying to quarantine people, lakhs of people, trying to disinfect them. Yes, I can understand they could have done much better what is being shown on your channel. Nobody is denying that. But in a given circumstances, the state governments are the frontline governments to provide all kind of reliefs. And therefore, it was the primary duty of the originating state and not the receiving state to do its duty, to ensure that people don't leave. And these people left because...
One moment. This mass migration, it's not something which, or exodus is not something which is happening from Delhi only to Uttar Pradesh or Bihar. It is happening in other parts of the country as well. It is very clear at this moment that irrespective of who was in power, all governments forgot to see this coming. It's like these people never existed, or governments thought that this problem will never arise.
No, the fact is that, as I said, it is the responsibility of the state governments, not only Delhi. Delhi is one example I give because we are in the vicinity of Delhi and we all saw what happened at Anand Vihar. It is the duty of the state government.
Mr. Deshattan Nigam, provisions of the Disaster Management Act are in place, which means that there is a great amount of power that now rests with the center. I am trying to understand from you, was there a basic failure to understand that there will be people who will go hungry, who will go jobless, who will have no homes to live in because they are daily wagers. They live from wage to wage. Is there a failure, basic failure in this last week?
No. I think central government announced the, giving money into the Jan Dhan accounts. UP government also has given 611 crores to Manrega workers. Today they have released. So all this has been taken care of. But the fact remains that this migration could have been stopped at the borders of the respective states and ensured using loudspeakers everywhere. I'm not talking only of Delhi, but everywhere. All possible action should have been taken and ensured. In Delhi, let me tell you, these people moved out when they were hungry, when they had no other scope, and then they moved out. And therefore, this must be a similar situation in other states as well.
Okay.
And therefore, these provisions should have been made at the state level. Center has given the SDRF funds, which center gives to the state. That fund should have been utilized.
Okay, very quickly.
And therefore, this is a huge problem.
I'll come to you. Nikhil De, very quickly. Let me take opening comments from the other two guests also, and then Yogen Yadav. Nikhil De, and then Dr. Chaudhary. Nikhil.
Yeah, so this is a massive humanitarian crisis. I mean, if we are going to call ourselves one country, we have to recognize what we've been seeing on the screens for the past 3-4 days. These are people for whom there was no compassion or thought given when this announcement was made. If the announcement of a lockdown was to maintain physical distance and social distance between people, we have seen that we have done something absolutely counterproductive. No one has any pleasure in walking the way that they are doing. They're putting their lives at risk. Perhaps almost the same number of people have already died trying to walk home, but they are desperate to walk home. And why are they desperate to do that? Because they have such a precarious condition. These are workers. These are people who have moved miles away from their homes to other states and in various very precarious conditions are working to survive and send money back home. And we don't think of the impact of what's going to happen to them. We don't think of the impact of the lockdown. You think by closing people into bastis where there's no space, 10 to a room, we are going to maintain social distance? What kind of planning are we making for our own country?
Mr. Dey, what could have been done?
As our future?
See, even Yogen Yadav...
So what
Yogen
could have
Yadav
been done
admits that a lockdown had to happen. So what could have been done?
So have we succeeded in the lockdown? That's my question to you, Sanket, not just
Well,
to the
no.
government. It's a
If
question.
you ask me, and
one
as far as
second.
this migrant exodus is concerned, the answer is a capital No.
Yeah, so my question is to all of affluent India, elite India, that when we are sitting in our rooms and our homes with sufficient rations, and we are looking there and say lockdown has to happen, then lockdown has a particular purpose. How, if you are living in a room with 10 people in that room, what does that lockdown mean? If you have no food further, it means immediate survival questions coming up. So we need to be able to carry people with us, think about it, not have them scared, not have them apprehensive, not have them running, and not treating them like criminals and fugitives. Firstly, you are unloading a decision on them. You're tying their hands behind their back. Then you do not have, you are making an announcement and you're saying that the states have to do it or the center has to do it. It has to be done. You're giving an order that they have to be paid their wages. And those employers are saying, go home. We don't have wages to pay you. Our own survival is at stake. The employers are saying we don't have place in our factories and we don't have the capacity to do that. We have today, and we are saying that we couldn't do anything. We have 58 million tons of food grain lying in our godowns. 14 months of it. Could not it have been moved to places so that food was available on the day of the call of the lockdown? Could not have been done at the very least. Could a sense of confidence not have been given to people that you will not have to run for food and run home? Could not we have put in place a kind of a drill? We knew this from the time Mr. Trump was coming to this country. We knew that that this virus was also going to come, and we knew that the lockdown was an option we would have to exercise. Could we not have started putting these systems into place? It was obvious to all of us because this country runs on these workers. They are not just the way that those images on the screen is that you're treating them like some mass of people. Each one of them are individuals. We flew people at great cost from other countries. And when these people started walking, what are our answers?
Is being made. This point has been made on a number of occasions. But you know, Dr. Chaudhary is with us. We have a doctor in the house. Dr. Chaudhary, one of the arguments
now,
that
Sanket,
we got...
Even now, what are we going to do when there are people? There are still people today. We are getting calls from all over of people desperately trying to get home, and we are closing down various places.
True.
Are we putting systems into place?
But I'll tell you something, Mr. Day, and then maybe Mr. Yogen Yadav can also weigh in. Let me ask you this question, Dr. Chaudhary. When we ask this question of the government, and I believe you also share the same view because we discussed this in a previous program, the logic behind not or containing them and asking them not to move is because if they are a potential carrier of this disease, they will take it with them to their villages. And that's why they should stay where they are. But you know, I hope you realize it's a very heartless sort of an argument. The first thing that a jobless, hungry man will do is go home in the comfort of his home when he has none in the city.
Yeah, actually, Sanket, that is the problem that has been occurring with these migrant laborers. They were actually to be assured well of time that you will be provided with food ration or with some petty cash, that at least you don't leave the big city. And even the factory owners and the industrialists with whom they were employed, they should have been counseled well before that you don't have to send these to their villages, to their origins for the time being. Because this mass exodus, this is just defeating the purpose of social isolation that we are, advocating for a long time since the lockdown has occurred.
Now, if I were to ask you, what if some of these people are potential carriers? We saw pictures from Anand Vihar, we saw pictures from elsewhere. That was quite the opposite of social distancing. What if people have been infected? What sort of a crisis are we dealing with? I'm not predicting doomsday, but I'm just saying that if the purpose was social distancing, has it not been completely defeated in the dealing of this migrant exodus?
Yeah, of course, Sanket, as we all know, this virus is dreaded only because of its high potential to transmit from one person to other. And since we are at the verge of entering into community transmission, as we all know, from the second stage to the third stage, and there have been incidences where carriers and symptomatic patients have transferred the virus to a whole lot of bunch of other people in the community. So this mass exodus, even if a few people have been carriers or maybe symptomatic patients, so that mass can develop into a huge time bomb which can blast any time.
Yogen Yadav, you wanted to weigh in.
I wanted to say, let's not look at it in a partisan manner, because it's not only from Delhi that people have migrated out.
Correct.
We have reports from Ahmedabad, we have reports from Surat, from Mumbai, even from Kerala, from all over the country. And where we are not getting reports is simply because we are not getting reports. It's happening all over the country. And the central government cannot shirk the responsibility. They have invoked National Disaster Management Act. And if they can suspend 2 IAS officers of Delhi, which means central government is saying, we have command and control over this entire country right now when it comes to COVID. So a government which invokes these many powers cannot escape responsibilities and duties. Central government has the principal duty. I was not saying that lockdown was the only solution. All I'm saying is, I would not blame the Prime Minister, even if 6 months later it is proven to be not the best decision, because under the circumstances, there are very few choices. I would not blame him. What I would ask, and the question needs to be asked, is the manner in which it was executed. What should a lockdown mean for a country, a community like India? Preparations were done in advance. How was the decision communicated? And how has there been any response? The fact is, even today, law and order response. Basically, that's why we are watching all the pictures of police and cops doing what they are doing. This is law and order response. Where is the policy response about what should be done to these people?
Interesting point that Yogen Yadav makes about policy response. You know, Deshratan Nigam, first you have a Janta curfew, which is spoken about. Then immediately after that, with a 4 hours notice, you have an all India lockdown. It was the necessity, it was the need of the hour. I'm not challenging it. It's good that that decision came sooner rather than later. But the point is, look at the response of the police. From initially implementing it with baton charge, to then distributing relief packets, it seems that the police also did not know, or the administration, because the police reports into the administration, they did not know. And I again come back to the main point, perhaps did not anticipate that there will be lakhs and lakhs of people on foot, walking on the road.
See, if the originating states, again I say, originating states do not do their work properly, then this kind of a problem would occur.
So when you say originating states, you just don't mean Delhi, you mean all states, all originating states.
Yes, originating states. It's under the lockdown, it is the duty of the originating states to take care of its residents and to ensure that they do not move out. Therefore, there is some kind of a failure out there, one. Secondly, let me also tell you, when Yogendra Yadav says that the entire control is the central government, no, Delhi is a unique case where the IAS is under the direct disciplinary control of the central government, and therefore they could suspend. Otherwise, they are all under the control of the various state governments. That misrepresentation should be clearly pointed out. And let me tell you, this is the time where everybody has to join hands, and constructive criticism is welcome.
Absolutely.
Which is fine.
And on that point, I want to quickly bring in Mr. Day for a last final concluding comment. Mr. Day, do you think at a time when constructive criticism is the need of the hour and we have to generally spread the message of positivity, do you think that there can be anything positive about spraying kids and migrant workers with chemicals, whether it is in Kerala or in Bareilly?
Just think of doing what you will do unto others, what you would do to yourself. If you had any of us being sprayed in that fashion, that government would have been out within 1 day. There is no question that you are treating and mistreating. It is not just a humanitarian crisis, it is a human rights crisis on our screens at every single moment. If we want to carry people with us, if we want to say we are one society and one nation, we have to look very deeply at what we are doing at the present time.
Okay.
We are just not going to be able to fight this together and we are just not going to be able to deal with it together. We can do whatever policies we want.
Sure.
If we don't treat human beings with an equality and share our resources and share our problems and understand that we have to be able to take them into confidence, and we have to give them reality so that they get that confidence.
Absolutely. The purpose of this discussion was not to be negative unnecessarily, be pessimistic unnecessarily. The purpose of this debate is that 1 week has gone by, we have something to look at and something to look forward to, something to figure out that we should not repeat these mistakes and perhaps make new mistakes and then learn from them. Let's hope the next 2 weeks are perhaps a little better than the past 1 week of the first ever massive lockdown of this kind. Thank you so much for watching Left, Right and Centre. News continues right here on NDTV. Stay with us.